G'day everybody, where's Wally here. Hey, currently Nathan Oakley is coping by claiming that going to Antarctica requires the assumption of antipodal positioning.
Yeah, because these flat earthers are all scared of the perpetual sun in Antarctica. Now, I'll just change my phraseology. Right, so the idea that there's going to be, that's potentially going to be a 24-hour above the horizon sun in Antarctica. It's something that a priest or whatever he is, pastor, I don't know, some guy has decided he's going to investigate. Now, whether or not there is, we'll just take as read for the sake of this affirming the consequent explanation, which is to say we will assume that there is, even though it seems unlikely and there's a lot of scammery around it. It's irrelevant, because in order to utilise this claim to be 24-hour sun above the horizon in Antarctica in our winter, that is to say their summer, in the southern quote-unquote hemisphere, that would require the person making the claim in exactly the same way as Netflix did to affirm the consequent. That is to say, if Earth is a sphere and we travel antipodal to the south, by assumption, then we will observe a 24-hour sun above the horizon. Now they're suggesting that when they go to affirm the consequent, they'll suggest that we do see a 24-hour sun above the horizon in Antarctica when antipodal on a sphere, therefore Earth's a sphere. It's if P, 24-hour sun, and Q, I travel antipodal on a sphere, I do travel antipodal on a sphere, Q, and observe the 24-hour sun. I got that slightly the wrong order, but it doesn't matter. Anyway, the point being that they're just affirming the consequent, suggesting that if they see sun above the horizon, it proves a ball. No, if that was the case, if it was the case that simply observing 24 hours of sunlight above the horizon proved a ball, well, we definitely do observe that in the north. I've seen it. I've had it documented on my own channel when I've had people broadcasting to a 24-hour hangout showing it. So it's not like it's contentious in the north. So if it is a proof that Earth is a ball, then use the 24-hour sun in the north. Well, why haven't they? Well, because they need an extra part to the affirming the consequent fallacy. They need to assume antipodal positioning.
Well, firstly, antipodal is a relative term. Antipodal to what, Nathan? The North Pole?
So part of the fallacy is to say, if I travel out towards the horizon on a flat plane in a southern direction towards Antarctica and arrive, and when I arrive, I say my journey out towards the horizon with the sky above and the ground below, the entire journey, travelling in a direction that is described with respect to a flat plane, using the stars to navigate on a flat plane with flat maps, I assume that when I arrive, I'm on the bottom of a ball.
Well, let's not make any assumptions, shall we? We know that the guys are flying somewhere and it's going to be icy cold. The flat Earth or globe Earth, it matters not. And I don't care at this point. Let the guys get onto the ice for 3 or 4 days and do the sun observations. What we do know is that the date is going to be December 14 to December 18, 2024. We will know the time, and we can use the time to timestamp all the images and recordings. And the guys should have synchronized their watches at this stage, and their laptops, and their cameras, and their GPSs. Oh, hang on, no, not the GPSs, but definitely use the GPS time signal to synchronize all the other things.
Then seeing the 24-hour sun, or not, as the case may or may not be, will prove that I'm on the bottom of a ball I just assumed.
Also, we know what local vertical is, don't we? And we can use that to establish a local horizontal plane to measure all those juicy angles from. Hey, Nathan. So let the observing begin. And at the end of it, we will know if the sun's position at all times was within the limits set out in my experimentation method. And this will be tested and observed many times over those few days by the crew on the ice. Scientific repetition and repeatability are parts of the scientific method. Hey, Nathan. Now, if the sun did everything I predicted it will do, then the null hypothesis holds, and the globe is the model that comports with reality. Then I was listening to Jeran, as I'm tending to do quite a lot these days, and Jeran mentioned that his wife has a better understanding of geometry than good old Nathan has. And she nailed it when Jeran described the problem. Well, here, let's have a listen to Jeran tell the story.
Stop discouraging people from doing real world observations in exchange for sitting at their house and thinking Nathan Oakley is a god for making fun of people and yelling obscenities. One of those is an admirable thing to do. One of them is a dirtball thing to do. Stop promoting dirtballs. Okay. Anyway, did I need to say anything else? So it's none of these other places. We know the sun goes this way and does this, so there's no reason for it to ever do this. Okay, if you're going to try and do it to prove it, which I'm all for. Again, I would love it if somebody did show it, because what I would do is say, I'm out. There is an explanation for this on a flat earth. Now, in all my research and everything I've tried to do, I realized pretty quickly, wait a second. If the south is pushed to the outside, then there is no mechanism that would ever say the sun should go backwards. Then go backwards this way. Right? Doesn't make any sense. I even went outside, was talking to my wife, and we were standing looking south. I said, okay, imagine for me, this is south, right? Yes. And I said, the sun every day is coming this way, my left to my right. And we both agree. Okay, coming from the left is the east, coming up over my head to the right. Yes, it does set farther up north and then farther down south, but it's always moving from my left to my right. I said, okay, let's say we start walking south, right? So if you want to, I can't really put my, oh wait, can I? You can see my mouse? Oh yeah. So let's say I'm here where I am and I start walking south. Remember, every day the sun comes up over my head like this. Sometimes it sets in the north, sometimes it sets further south, okay? But it's always coming up over my head left to right. I said, let's start walking south. And I just keep walking south and I keep walking south. And eventually the sun would be above my head, correct? Right. Because the sun, right now where I'm at, the sun is never above my head. The sun is always south of me because the Tropic of Capricorn is here. Cancer is here, I believe. Okay. So I only see it to my south ever if I'm looking south. But if I start walking down and walking down, now all of a sudden the sun is above my head. Okay. Let's say you keep walking south. Okay. We keep walking south. We keep walking south. Well, as that happens, the sun is going to start going behind me, right? At a certain point, once I pass 23.5 degrees south latitude, the sun no longer will ever be seen in front of me, correct? Ever, because it's behind me. We know that the sun circles on the southern tropic. There's a problem. On the globe Earth, as I'm walking south and I pass that point where the sun is now behind me, they say the sun comes back around the other side and I will see it in front of me. And I asked my wife, does that make sense? And she totally got it. She's like, oh, geez. She's like, if that happens, there's only one explanation. The only explanation is you went upside down. There's no other way that a sun can all of a sudden switch and go the other direction. It's going this way. How could all of a sudden it go this way? And if you can't figure that out in your head, I can't help you. It should tell you that it's a very good idea by Duffy, because it will really be the moment that I will know one way or the other. Now, granted, they could cloud up the sky the whole time. They could cancel the trip, and then I don't really know. And you might say, Jeran, I thought you knew now. I do know now because I've always assumed and said that this doesn't happen. Do you understand that you might make decisions based on things that you think are true? And then if somebody gives you an opportunity to go see if the thing that you thought was not true is true or not, that it's a good idea to do that? These guys are like, well, we know that it's flat. Jeran, you measured flat. You measured the distance. Yeah, I have. Did I measure seeing 3,000 miles? No. No, I never have. We saw mirror flashes from 20 miles. Okay. Laser experiments for what? What's the farthest one? I don't even know. 50 miles? I don't forgot what Lake Balaton was. But anyway, when you think about those small distances, if there was this magical thing called refraction, would it possibly explain it? And the answer is yes. If the refraction is what they say it is, then could it explain some of the observations we make? Yeah, it could. But there's so many things wrong with the other parts of this model that I've never even considered it.
Well, that is just perfect. Upside down, antipodal positioning, feet pointing at feet. That sounds all very globe to me, mate. We just can't wait to see you guys on the ice. This is going to be great.